All right. So uh, today, let's talk about something that I think every software company really wants,
Yeah,
and that's engineering excellence,
absolutely.
right? We all want those amazing high-performing teams, the ones that are just crushing deadlines and shipping really incredible products.
Right.
But how do we get there consistently? That's really the hard part.
Yeah, it is. It's like solving a puzzle, but you don't have all the pieces.
Oh, totally.
And that's where I think having the right metrics comes in.
100%. And speaking of metrics, we're actually going to be talking about Harness today.
Okay.
They've got some seriously insightful strategies, and they have this engineering excellence coach named Adeeb Valiulla.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of him?
I have. Yeah, he's part of the Software Engineering Insights team there.
Right, SEI.
Yeah, and, Adeeb and his team, they actually developed this whole engineering metrics program.
Oh, wow.
So they're all about helping companies measure what really matters to them.
Yeah.
And it helps unlock that engineering excellence that everyone's always talking about.
It's like they're giving us the treasure map.
Exactly.
So let's dive into it. Today we're going deep on how to build a really impactful metrics program based on, Harness's expert guidance.
All right, so first, let's paint a picture that I think everyone's familiar with.
Okay.
Imagine a software team that is drowning in deadlines.
Yeah.
Frustration is high,
Yeah.
and nobody has any data to explain why things are going so wrong.
Oh, yeah. Been there 100%.
Right.
I remember this one time we were pushing to launch this new feature, and the testing phase was just a nightmare.
Oh, no.
It was just so bogged down, and we had no idea where the bottleneck even was.
Oh.
We just kept throwing people at the problem.
Oh, my God.
It was chaos.
That's when you know that metrics would have been a game changer.
For sure.
They would have been your team's vital signs,
Oh, yeah.
giving you that visibility into your people, the processes, the tools you're using,
I like that a
the
lot.
whole system,
Yeah, so instead of just guessing at what's wrong, you're actually
Yeah.
getting that data to pinpoint the issue.
Exactly. And it's not about pointing fingers at individual developers.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
It's not their fault.
It's about understanding the system as a whole.
Right.
So you can optimize it
Okay.
for peak performance.
And that leads to engineering excellence, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
We can't just measure everything.
Right. We have to be strategic about
Exactly. There's two key aspects to consider.
it. Okay. Lay 'em on me.
All right, so first we have efficiency,
Okay.
and then business impact.
All right. Break those down for me.
Okay, so efficiency, that's all about how quickly and smoothly your team can move, from idea to production.
Yeah.
So think about things like lead time, how often you're deploying, and where the bottlenecks are in your process.
Oh, yeah. That's like fine-tuning the engine.
Exactly.
The whole development process.
Yes.
What about business impact?
So that's all about making sure that your engineering work is actually, moving the needle for the business.
Yeah. Are you building the right things?
Yeah.
Are you delivering real value to your customers?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not just about writing elegant code.
Right.
It's about making sure that code's making a difference.
Exactly. And this is where something like the DORA framework comes in.
Oh, Doro for sure.
You've probably heard of those 4 key metrics: lead time, deployment frequency, mean time to restore and change, failure rate.
Oh, yeah. They're like the poster children for engineering metrics.
Right. Right.
But, sometimes I wonder if they tell the whole story.
Yeah, they're a really great starting point,
Okay.
and they can definitely give you a sense of your team's overall health,
Right.
but they're just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Imagine 2 teams with identical DORA scores.
Right.
One team is building a highly complex mission-critical application.
Right.
The other team is working on a simple marketing website.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Right.
So those Dora numbers might look amazing for the marketing website team, but they don't really reflect the same level of performance for the team that's tackling that really complex application.
Exactly. Context is key.
Okay.
We need to go beyond those surface-level metrics and really dig deeper.
So Dora's the tip of the iceberg, what's underneath.
So imagine you're piecing together a puzzle,
Okay.
but you're not just using one picture as a reference.
Okay.
You're looking at multiple images, maybe some sketches, even some witness testimonies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what it's like to truly understand your engineering data.
So we need to be like detectives almost,
Exactly.
gathering all the evidence.
You need to pull in information from your issue trackers, your source code managers, CI/CD tools, all of it.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about the numbers themselves.
Right.
It's about how they all connect and relate to each other.
By correlating data from multiple sources, you can start to see that big picture.
I like that.
You'll uncover hidden patterns, identify dependencies, and gain a much deeper understanding of how your people, your processes, your tools, they're all interacting.
It's all connected.
It is.
But with so much data out there, where do we even begin?
So benchmarking can be really helpful here.
Okay.
See how your team stacks up against industry standards.
Okay, so are you saying I shouldn't compare, like, my scrappy little startup team
Right.
to, like, Google's engineering behemoth?
Probably not.
Okay, good.
Because what's good for one team might be terrible for another.
Right.
So you need to consider your team's unique goals, their structure and the complexity of what they're working on.
Right, of course. Tailor it
Exactly.
to your needs. Yeah.
So we've got our benchmarks for context. We're pulling in all this data from all these different sources.
Yeah.
But how do we actually use this information to improve?
That's the question, right? We could easily drown in data here.
Absolutely. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Okay.
Don't try to improve everything at once.
Right.
Instead, focus your energy on one specific area.
Okay.
Maybe it's efficiency code quality or what they call hygiene.
Hygiene.
Yeah.
What's that? What does that even mean in the context of engineering?
I love that term. So think of it as keeping your code base clean and organized.
Oh, okay.
So things like code complexity, test coverage documentation.
Oh, okay.
It's all about building good habits into your development process.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
So we pick a category like hygiene,
Right.
and then we pick a specific metric within that category.
Exactly.
Okay, so instead of trying to tackle everything, we're choosing our battles.
Yes. You got it. Set a target for that metric and then iterate your way towards improvement.
Love it.
Small wins over time lead to big results.
Okay, this is making a lot of sense, but what if the bottleneck isn't the people?
Right.
What if it's not the processes? What if it's the tools we're using?
Oh, absolutely. Tooling choices can have a massive impact on your metrics.
Okay.
Let's say you're using an ancient CI tool like, Jenkins.
Oh, shots fired. But in all seriousness, I've heard those Jenkins builds can be brutal.
They can be. Even if you have a fantastic code review process, that slow CI step can completely torpedo your lead time.
So even with amazing processes, the wrong tools can sabotage everything.
Exactly. And that's why having the right improvement plan is so important.
Okay.
You need a system that gives you end-to-end data coverage,
Yeah.
the ability to customize your metrics, and crystal clear reporting.
Okay.
So you can track progress both at the team level and for individual contributors.
So we need the holistic view,
Right.
but we also need to be able to zoom in
Exactly.
and get granular when we need to.
Precisely. And that's where the right tooling can really make all the difference.
Okay. And I'm definitely getting the sense that this whole metrics program thing is more nuanced than just slapping together some dashboards.
It is.
Can you walk me through like a concrete example?
Sure.
Like if we were trying to break down something like lead time, how would we actually pinpoint the bottlenecks?
Okay, so let's say your data is showing that PR approval time is a major contributor to your overall lead time.
Okay.
To really understand what's going on, we need to peel back the layers. How are those PRs distributed across the team? What's the average PR size? How many lines of code are being changed?
Oh, so we're not just looking at the total time.
Right.
We're looking at the factors that are influencing that time.
Exactly. By digging into those details, you might find that PRs over a certain size consistently take forever to get approved.
Oh, it just...
Or maybe there's one developer who's getting bombarded with PRs while others have more bandwidth.
Wow, that would be some real gold for a team lead who's trying to optimize their workflow.
Exactly.
But how do we make sure those improvements actually stick? How do we build a culture of continuous improvement?
That's where roadmaps come in.
Okay.
Not just your typical product roadmap,
Yeah.
but team-specific and even persona-based roadmaps for tracking your progress.
Wait, persona-based roadmaps for engineering metrics.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I need to hear more about this.
So think of it as tailoring your metrics and improvement plans to the different roles within your engineering organization. So an engineering manager might focus on lead time and deployment frequency,
Yeah.
while a product manager might prioritize metrics related to customer satisfaction and delivered value.
That's brilliant. It's like giving everyone a clear path forward, but with metrics that actually resonate with their specific role.
Exactly, and by tracking progress against those roadmaps, you can ensure continuous improvement over time.
I love it. Becomes a mindset, not just a one-off project. This is all making so much sense.
Good.
It's not just about gathering the data. It's about understanding the story that data is telling us.
Exactly, and using that story to drive meaningful change within your organization.
Data without action is just noise.
I like that.
Okay, this has been incredible already.
Good.
We've gone from the why of measuring engineering excellence to the nuances of Dora and the power of digging deeper
We have.
for those hidden insights.
Yeah.
We've talked about the importance of benchmarking, choosing our battles wisely, and leveraging roadmaps to create that culture of continuous improvement.
We've covered a lot of ground.
You know what? I think our listeners could use a moment to digest all this.
Okay.
But don't worry, we'll be right back to continue our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We'll be tackling the big question. How do we connect all of this engineering excellence stuff back to real, tangible business results?
Can't wait.
So stick around.
So before the break, we were talking about focusing on a single metric, within a specific category.
Right.
But how do you actually know which metric to start with?
Yeah, how do you pick the right battle to fight?
I think it comes down to understanding where the biggest pain points are for your team.
Probably.
What's causing the most friction in your workflow?
Okay.
Those are the places to start.
So like if a team is struggling with really long lead times,
Yeah,
would it make sense to focus on the lead time metric?
absolutely. And remember how we were talking about breaking down lead time into its components?
Right.
Is the holdup happening during development? Is it during testing? Is it deployment? Getting granular really helps you pinpoint exactly where things are getting stuck.
So it's not just lead time is bad.
Right.
It's why is lead time bad?
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And once you've zeroed in on that bottleneck, you can start brainstorming solutions.
Okay.
Maybe you need to streamline your code review process or automate some of your testing
Right.
or invest in a more robust CI/CD pipeline.
Okay, so we've made those changes. How do we know if they're actually working?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's where tracking comes in, right?
You need a way to see how your metrics are trending over time.
Okay.
Are the changes you've made actually having the desired impact?
And that's where those persona-based roadmaps come in,
Yes.
right? Each team or even each individual can track their own progress.
Exactly. It's all about fostering that culture of continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Everyone is empowered to track their metrics and, contribute to making the team better.
You know those persona-based roadmaps? They're really interesting.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a smart way to get everyone on board with this idea of measuring and improving.
Yeah, it's all about making sure that the metrics are relevant,
Yeah.
It's not about chasing some arbitrary number.
Right.
It's about driving real improvements that actually make the team more successful.
I love that it helps people take ownership of their work and see how their contributions are impacting the team as a whole.
Absolutely. And remember, this is an iterative process.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, adjust your approach as you go.
Yeah.
What works for one team might not work for another. So finding that right formula for your unique context is key.
So many different ways to go about it.
There are.
What are some pitfalls that we should be aware of?
Yeah. So one common trap is getting too focused on the numbers themselves
Okay.
and losing sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah, you can get tunnel vision for sure.
Exactly. Remember, metrics are a tool.
Right.
They're meant to help you understand what's happening so
real.
you can make better decisions.
So it's not about hitting some arbitrary target. It's about using the data to tell a story.
Exactly. And then acting on that story.
I like that.
Another challenge is getting buy-in from the team.
Oh, yeah.
People can be resistant to change,
Sure.
especially when it comes to being measured.
I've been on teams where metrics felt more like surveillance than a tool for improvement.
Right. And that's why it's so crucial to communicate the why behind the metrics program.
Okay.
Make sure everyone understands how this actually benefits them
Right.
and the team as a whole.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
Exactly. It's not about micromanaging. It's about empowering people
Okay.
to understand their performance
Gotcha.
and to work together to improve.
So is it more about team performance or individual performance?
It's about both.
Okay.
You want to understand how the team is functioning as a unit,
Right.
identify areas where, processes and collaboration can be improved, but also give individuals insights into their own work.
That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really eye-opening. Building a successful engineering metrics program is about so much more than just like dashboards and data points.
It is.
It's about creating a culture of improvement
Right.
and giving people the tools and the knowledge that they need to succeed.
I love that it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There are going to be bumps along the way,
Sure.
but learning from your mistakes, iterating, and always striving to get better is key.
So we've talked a lot about the mechanics of it all,
We have.
but we need to talk about the big question.
Okay.
How do we connect these engineering metrics to the larger business goals?
Right.
How do we prove that all this effort is actually having a positive impact?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Engineering teams can often feel siloed, disconnected from the overall business objectives.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
And that's what I love about this conversation.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about metrics in a vacuum.
Right.
We're connecting them back to the things that matter.
Yes.
Delivering value to customers, hitting those business goals, making a real impact.
Absolutely. And that's what we're going to dig into next.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll explore how to align your engineering metrics with business outcomes and showcase the value that your team is delivering.
All right, so we're back and we're ready to tackle the big question. How do we prove that all this engineering excellence stuff actually leads to real business value?
Right, because at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah,
It's not enough to just have a high-performing engineering team.
Right.
We need to show that their efforts are actually contributing to the company's bottom line.
Yeah, otherwise it's like a tree falling in the forest.
Exactly.
And no one's around to hear it.
Did it even make a sound?
I love that analogy. So how do we make sure our engineering excellence is making a sound that everyone, especially the people holding the budget, can hear?
It starts with understanding the business goals
Got it.
and how engineering work contributes to them. What are the key performance indicators, the KPIs, that the business really cares about?
Right.
Is it customer acquisition, revenue growth, customer satisfaction?
So we need to align our engineering metrics with those KPIs.
Yes.
Make sure we're measuring the things that matter to the business, not just the things that make us feel good as engineers.
Exactly. For example, if the business goal is to increase customer acquisition,
Okay.
you might focus on engineering metrics that are related to the speed and frequency of new feature releases.
Okay.
If the goal is to improve customer satisfaction,
Yeah.
you might prioritize metrics related to application performance stability and bug resolution times.
So we're choosing metrics that tell a story about how engineering is directly impacting those business outcomes.
Exactly. And once you have that story, you need to communicate it effectively to stakeholders.
Right. So no more just showing them a bunch of numbers and charts.
Right.
We need to explain what those numbers actually mean.
Yes, in terms of business impact.
So instead of saying we reduced our lead time by 20%, we could say we're now able to release new features twice as fast,
Right.
which has allowed us to capture a larger market share.
Exactly. You're speaking the language of business.
Okay.
And you're demonstrating the value that engineering is bringing to the table.
This is making a lot of sense. It's like we've cracked the code
Yeah.
on how to get everyone excited about engineering metrics.
And here's the best part. When you can clearly demonstrate the impact of engineering work, it makes it much easier to secure buy-in for future investments.
Yeah. You're not just asking for more resources.
Right.
You're showing how those resources will lead to tangible business results.
Exactly. It's like building a bulletproof business case
Yeah.
for engineering excellence.
Show them the data. Show them the impact and watch the resources roll in.
Exactly. And it creates this virtuous cycle.
Okay?
When you have the support and the resources that you need, you can continue to improve your engineering practices, which leads to even better business outcomes.
This has been so insightful. We've gone from Dora metrics to the big picture of business impact.
We have.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of what it really means to achieve engineering excellence.
And remember, it's not about achieving excellence just for the sake of it.
Right.
It's about using that excellence to achieve real, meaningful results for the business.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I would say engineering metrics are not just about tracking numbers.
Okay.
They're about understanding your team, your processes, and how your work impacts the bigger picture.
Love it.
Take the time to define the metrics that matter most to your team and your business, and then use that data to drive continuous improvement.
That's great. And for our listeners, here's a challenge for you.
Okay.
Think about what specific metrics would be most impactful to track within your own team or organization.
Good.
What data points would give you the insights you need to make a real difference?
Yeah.
Start there, and you'll be well on your way to building an engineering metrics program that drives both excellence and business results. And that's a wrap on another Deep Dive. Until next time. Stay curious, keep learning, and happy measuring.